on racism and poverty. Conservatives blame it on culture and godlessness. Blacks create the same culture from LA to Baltimore, from Haiti to London, from Sudan to South Africa, from prehistory to now. It's race. So that's the two tweets he put out that upset me. And so I issued a response because he's clearly talking about me. Didn't call me out by name, but he's talking about me because I've been leading a conversation now for 4.5, 5 years about this demonic, toxic culture that too many black people have bought into. The culture of racial idolatry, the culture of entitlement, the culture of victimhood, no, I'm about to read it. Oh, yep. I'm sorry. The culture of victimhood, the culture of hip hop and hedonism, and if you get disrespected, you must respond in a very disrespectful fashion, and you must be willing to turn violent and really angry if you feel any sort of level of disrespect. This has been my topic.
Why would Lenore travel thousands of miles to get permanent dental implants? Most dental implants
forever.
Before has been implemented with much success, has become a very big business on the right. You have, white people who hire these blacks to spew off, racist talking points. But because it's becoming behind a black face, they're not labeled racist. He's essentially saying everything that I told y'all.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid.
Damn, when people wanted to criticize me, oh, that's not true, I'm like, yes, it is true. Okay, you may not be aware, but that's why they have a Kundazoans. Never happened to adopt that narrative for themselves. Never.
And that's why I don't. Because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say.
It's always advice that they give to everyone else.
And Nick Fuentes decides, hey, I'm going to attack Jason Whitlock's argument. I'm not going to call him out by name, but I'm going to attack him in his argument and the only reason to do this is because clearly his group, his following or whatever, what I'm saying must resonate with them in some way. And so he must defeat that argument. And so I tweeted back, you're every bit as godless and stupid as your critics say. You're Ray Epps 2.0, pointing foolish believers into a building that will burn them down for eternity. Many of the people captured by the wickedness of black culture can claim ignorance. You know exactly what you're doing, demon. The enemy is paying people on social media to promote racial division and conflict. The aftermath of Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony is a psyop. Don't fall for it. Stand on the word. Rebuke any so-called believer not pointing to Christ.
When it comes to them, no, you need to understand, it's real, bro. It's real what's going on. It's a part of a delusion, right? A very delusional individual with severe insecurity issues. And that's what many of these people are, unfortunately. And now I will say this is interesting because what he's trying to say that the real privilege is black privilege. Is that people like Whitlock and whatnot, they have black privilege because they get to say what white people can't due to the color of their skin. And I think he may have a point.
Especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be f***ing gone. And everybody knows that.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
We We saw this, as I said before, with Candace Owens. Okay, they promised her to take it anymore.
Does it only work for bald heads?
With the Flex series, I can shave my head, face, neck, and shoulders in
Anymore.
I'm trying to tell you how white people feel.
Let's take you on as greatest hits, just because this was just Friday, but also in the broken clock of things.
Yeah.
As it relates to Jason, I agree with him. So
every once in a while you get one off. Every once in a while you get one off, right?
Okay. All right. Let's play the first one. I don't want to live around black people.
Here's Nick Fuentes reacting to Austin Metcalf's murder.
And I will tell you this as plainly as possible. I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be. And that's not to say that every black person is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news. We read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about whether you're going to get carjacked, when you're worried about catching a stray bullet, when you're worried about who's going to pull up on the side of the road and literally shove a rifle in your face and steal your iPhone or shoot you point blank, execution style, in Lincoln Park. We know who's doing it.
Pause for a second, Smith. Pause.
I don't want to live.
No, pause. When does this happen? You would think we would be inundated with white people being, held at gunpoint for their iPhones and being shot in Chicago, being carjacked. You would think this would be, and they've tried to paint Chicago as the most dangerous city in the United States of America.
Here it is.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token.
That was my response. And so I want to, and this is going to take a second, and many of you are going to struggle to follow me as I go here, but trust me, I'm telling you the truth about how you should all feel. That's if you're a believer. If you're a secular person, this show's really not for you. This is for people claiming Christ as King, Christ as Lord and Savior. So I don't care what Nick Fuentes has to say about me. He can call me every name in the book. I don't care what anybody says about me. This isn't me talking tough. This isn't me saying I have the thickest skin in the world. This is me submitting to my irrelevance, my lack of importance. This is me acknowledging exactly who I am. I'm unimportant. What people think about me is unimportant.
You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't. Because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white. So there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it. Especially in the conservative space that blacks have had it easy.
Whoa. Now I got to say this hell must have frozen over because about 50% of what that racist SOB said is true about Jason Whitlock. I do disagree with the other 50%. That's just his bogus bigotry talking. But Jason Whitlock, the man has made a career out of being the antithetical voice as it relates to black America. He's the black guy who will say the most extreme commentary against black folk in America and beyond.
When it's really Anchorage, Alaska is one of Chicago's not even in the top 10. Okay, Anchorage, Alaska is more violent and dangerous than Chicago,
Per capita,
Illinois. Yes. So if we're having this conversation, number one, and this is something, leaning into what Francis Cress Welsing was saying. We have to be zero tolerant of people talking greasy about us. So Jason Whitlock got offended because he's black. Right, he got offended by it. So he played the clip and then went off on how ridiculous it was because that's a bridge too far for him. Now, he could sit there and talk about Dawn Staley and every black person and mostly black women because, he too is an incel. And that's involuntarily celibate, meaning nobody wants to do you. You are not attractive. And you're not working on yourself to make yourself attractive. You're disgusting.
And so when you hear me say, and I say it pretty consistently, I don't care if people are racist. I truly do not. People can say whatever they want about black people. I don't care. They're not important. What triggers me is when people lie on Jesus. And then what really triggers me is when people lie on Jesus and use something I said to tell that lie.
I'm already feeling it. Still on my second one.
Both of you.
This is from a man who said, Jason Whitlock said, Black Lives Matter is no different than the KKK.
Okay.
That's
this was
Jason Whitlock.
What this man is saying, what this boy is saying, because he doesn't have any kind of maturity, Nick Fuentes, was too offensive for Jason Whitlock. But I just paused you, Smith, because of the propaganda. Because here's the other reality. 75% of white people are already self-segregated. You don't live around black people already. You already ran every time black people moved in. You don't even know what it's like to live around black people. It's wonderful. The smells of great seasoning and all of the good music in the air. I used to lived in a condo where I would sit on the roof, Rod, and I had behind me folk from Latin American country. They would be playing their salsa at night and doing karaoke. Across the street with this brother, he played house music. To the left of me was somebody that was into 2000, my kind of R&B and hip hop. I would just sit on the roof and just be enraptured with the amazing music going through the airwaves. On Sunday, the gospel was across the street. It was lovely. Right. You don't even know. That's why your seasoned chicken is not seasoned. It's raw. It's raw and bald-headed. You don't live around us. So you don't know us. Somebody put a plate out on social media and said, "Oh, I'm eating like black people." And I knew that they didn't know black people because the corn muffin was in paper.
Oh, see?
Who does that? I said, where? And they had cookies on the plate. We ain't never put no cookies on the plate. On the plate.
Next to the, food.
Next to the food, there was a clump of something
what
white.
Triggers me. And so Nick Fuentes and this all, because I'm going to play several of his clips because I want to be fair to what he argued on his show. He spent... I put out that tweet, and he put out a 4.5, 5 hour show, and about 45 minutes of it was spent attacking me. And so we'll play several of these clips of him attacking me. And he starts, and I don't know if we'll play this clip, but he starts out by saying, hey, he tells a story about me either late last week or early this week. It all runs together for me at this point. One day you'll be 57 and can't keep track of the days. But I think it was late last week. I called him a heretic, but I also pointed out, he said he did some video where he said he didn't want to live around black people. And I said on this show, man, that sounds like what Jesse Jackson said in the late 80s, 90s. And so you can run around and pretend like what he's saying is offensive and or beyond the bound, but I'm like, well, let's judge the actions of black people. Let's judge what black people say about black people when they think only black people are listening. But let's judge their actions. As soon as we get enough money, we move away from black people into white neighborhood. Jesse Jackson's quoted on record saying, oh boy, I step up to an ATM machine and there's someone walking behind me, and I'm relieved when I look around and find a white man. He's saying the exact same thing as Nick Fuentes.
tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race. We're done. We pay up the ass in property taxes not to live near these people.
This concept, I don't know where it stems from. I genuinely don't. Where is this concept that this group of, I don't know.
I finally figured out the real difference between a Mazzato knife and the ordinary stuff. We've all seen those flashy knife ads showing they're sharp enough to cut through a plastic bottle, yet gentle enough to
Angelic white people have just been so kind and, have been coddling black people for the longest. When in history has that ever happened? I'm genuinely curious. That has never happened in history. That has never happened where you've coddled the black people. Never. They've always been overt and direct with their racism. And then when they put in laws so they can have loopholes to inject and continue the racism. So now that they have plausible deniability, because now they can say, well, what law says that you can't build a business as a black person, huh? There's no law against it. So their wickedness knows no bounds for these group of people. It just knows no bounds. But I just find it, I find it humorous. At the same token, he's saying what I said, which is fact when it comes to the Sambos of the right.
It doesn't matter the color of Jesse's skin.
Is a victim.
It doesn't make it any different. He's saying the exact same thing. And so I was like, y'all can pretend to get upset with Nick Fuentes, but our actions and the things that we say when white people aren't listening sounds exactly like what Nick Fuentes is saying. But he's now saying, Nick Fuentes, he credited me for that. But he's now saying I contradicted myself by criticizing him over Twitter, and he thinks I'm protecting me or that I'm upset about anything he said about me, and it's just not true. He's lying on Jesus, and he's calling himself a Christian. And he's got people following him who think they're in alignment with Jesus Christ and that they're following Jesus. And my question to any of them, and and we'll play clips here so you can get a taste of what he did, is angry, profane, Stephen A. Smith-like response to 3 or 4 sentences from me over Twitter. He's got 45 minutes of a deranged, profane response while calling himself a Christian. And what I'm complaining about overall, hey bro, point to Christ. And so your narrative that this melanin skin, this darker shade of a skin color, a tone that we all share, there's just different shades of it. Show me in the Bible where this is. The foundation of all truth for believers is in the Bible. And so, any of you all that listen to this show or watch this show on a regular basis, what is my number one complaint with a great number of black Americans? What is my complaint with a great number of black ministers? They run around and think the world and what's going on in the world is determined by black and white, by skin color. And I've asked virtually once a week on this show for 4.5 or 5 years, show it to me in the Bible. You're calling God a liar because it's not in the Bible.
When they need that particular opinion. But there's more. Here it is.
You are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be gone, and everybody knows that. You're on Blaze, hosting E. Michael Jones, talking about the Jews. It's a good thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. Look at everything around you. Because you did not compete to get that, you got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
I say we give them boxing gloves and let them figure this out together.
Dude, are you actually
It's
not?
fucking insane.
You're so. This guy turned around and was like, "Bro, are you actually?"
You haven't seen the full reaction yet.
I can't believe what I'm seeing, bro. You are about to go to jail. There's no cool guy stuff. Nobody's gonna remember you in 20 years, bro.
Yeah.
This is fucking insane. Stupid.
Hey, that could have been mashed potatoes. It could have been. It looked like cauliflower, but it was a clump of something. Maybe unbuttered seasoned grits or something. It was something white. I was like, that is the least black plate. I'm eating like, and I think he said something derogatory. Like I'm eating like these N-words or something. And I was like, wow. I know you don't know black people because that's not a black people don't eat like that. So you think you presented something, but the fact that you can't even mimic or duplicate.
But if God said the world was ruled by skin color and race, he would have put it in the Bible. But that's not what he put in the Bible. So your claim is inconsistent with the Word of God, the foundation of truth, while you're claiming Christ and while you're getting other people to think they're following Christ by following you, as you lead them into a burning pit of hell by removing them from biblical truth to rely on.
Did you see something?
Do you know the crazy story
He's just being a wise ass.
behind the Matsado knife that you recently got? So they put regular knives under the microscope. What?
Your
He could at least be like, I took it too far. That was fucked up. He's like, that was
a good one.
Round of applause for me.
They're watching his TikToks on the TV. That's what I do with my friends when they come over.
Nice, thanks for the promo, idiots. Yeah. Pretty crazy, man.
Oh, so is he an American citizen?
Or understanding. The Bible tells us to not lean into our understanding. It says lean into God's understanding. And what the Bible is a historic account of different groups of people falling into pagan cultures. It's a repeat of that on a loop. The children of Israel giving into pagan cultures, pagan customs, idolatry, and dealing with the consequences of them falling into pagan cultures. That's the story of the Bible. You don't have to ask me. You can go read it for yourself. And so that's what upsets me. People that claim Christ but lean into their own
Richness
understanding
of our culture on a plate. But this man has something to say about living around with you. And if you had a wife and children, which is Wednesday or yesterday, David Olashoga, yesterday, he said his family, they know that. He's referring to something that I haven't talked about on.
Let me be the first to say it.
You are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media, as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't. Because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white. So there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it.
Tell other people,
especially in the
lean into
conservative
my
space.
Understanding, because I'm smarter than God. Race explains everything. This is a racial conflict that's playing out. I don't know.
Have you ever seen the magic glasses that can see clearly
The
without
blacks
glasses?
have had it
This
easy.
glasses can...
It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaefer. You would have been fired like every other white person. Everybody knows that. Take a good look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
Wow. Points were made. Points were made. I mean, I don't know why.
We all know that though, right? You know, it's
Right.
like, you know, if you think about all of these,
6
you
months
know,
ago,
even
I'm
Diamond
not
and
sure.
Silk.
I'm gonna play you a clip. I think it's him and the comedian Dave Smith are talking, and they get on a topic about these assets, these feds. They talk about Ray Epps and what he was doing on January 6th, and I'm telling you, I had no idea when I put out that tweet that Nick Fuentes was at January 6th and that Nick Fuentes had directed people into the Capitol. I did not know. He thinks I knew. He thinks that my friendship with Tucker Carlson and that me and Tucker Carlson sit up gossiping on the phone about Nick Fuentes. It never happened. And so it's like when I connected these dots, I was like, oh, this is why the dude's upset. I don't. This is a hit dog. But let's play the Tucker Carlson.
Like that they had a bigger platform. They're people talking good sense only because, like, couldn't string together two sentences. I don't know if they've ever read a book between them. I know one of them's not here anymore, so I don't want to talk ill of the person that's not here. But I'm like, what? They get invited every. I'm saying, like, what is happening? What?
They were at the White House.
At the White House.
Yeah.
Jason Whitlock failed.
It's an inside job to a large degree.
Can we just establish that anybody who screamed, let's storm the Capitol, I can think of two people who did, who was not arrested, didn't spend time in jail.
Was defended by Democrats in the Congress.
Yes, but he wasn't alone. There's another prominent person who did that as well, as I know you know.
Prison for 3.
Jermaine struggled for years with dental issues before finally finding Nubia. Listen to what he wanted most after his smile.
White people need a shield for being racist. And here come your ass out here saying all the things they want to say.
For a lot less than that. And you've heard me say, and I'll stand on culture. And we keep looking at our children.
There's a lot of pictures.
Hands
with
hanging off
Jason
their
Whitlock's
rear
face. You do that, though.
I post a lot of pictures picking on him.
That's it. Oh my God! You said I do not go to church. So there we
I'm
go.
not gonna do that this Easter. Just letting y'all know. So don't worry about me. I'm not putting my hands on nobody.
I just wanted to bring out the point. This is Nick Fuentes is telling people how they really think about us all the way around, and I'm here for it. I'm here for that incel telling us the truth. Because what else does he have? You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't like black people. He don't want to live around black people. He doesn't trust black people. Last name Fuentes, very interesting choice. But you go ahead, go off, brother. Go off, young man. Do what
And it's
you
not
need
even
to
a
do.
wake up call for Jason Whitlock. You think it would be a wake up call? Like maybe I need to stop hanging around with these kind of people.
Yeah.
But no, that's what his bread is.
Look at our children. Can barely speak proper English. Can't read at level. Can't do math at the proper level. Dependent on the sympathy of white liberals to hand them something through DEI or affirmative action rather than building their own and taking care of their kids and nurturing and raising them in the fear and admonition of the Lord. Look at our fruit. It's no good. And it's because we've given in to a pagan culture. This story is told over and over and over again in the Bible.
This butter.
Children of Israel.
I was going to ask, how else would he make money? And this is the thing, you know, I've been fortunate to have many, I've been fortunate to have many places